What is going on, guys, and welcome to another episode of All Mouth Bassing. In this one, I went out to the San Isabel National Forest with my buddy Kerm, and we got into our first ice send of the year, where we actually had a pretty decent trout bite, and I decided to also do a review on this two-man Outsunny brand ice shelter. This was a crazy cheap one. I got it on Amazon for around 70 bucks, which is insanely cheap for an ice shelter. So it kind of fits the theme of budget reviews that you guys seem to like on this channel. So went ahead and did a review on that. So if you guys want to see how that went, go ahead, stick around till the end and check out that review. All right, guys, today I'm out here with the buddy Kerm at San Isabel National Forest. We're gonna get into some ice fishing here, hopefully catch some trout, maybe some yellow perch, or really whatever will bite pretty much. We're drilling some holes right now. I just got one drilled. Kerm's just working on his right now. We're in about 30 foot of water, which isn't ideal. I'd rather be in closer to 10, but there's not very much safe ice. We're on some pretty early ice, so we're working with what we got. Kerm just broke through, so hopefully we can get some lines in the water here, see what happens. All right, guys, I think Kerm's starting out with a waxworm. We've got waxworms, shrimp, and redworms out here, along with various soft plastics and hard baits. But I'm starting out with just a tiny little, I think it's a Widowmaker Lures ice jig. I think it's the beetle type. This one's a chartreuse and pink, and I've got a chunk of raw shrimp on it. So that's what I'm gonna start out with. There's actually some fish swimming around down near the bottom, right around 30 foot right now. So I'm just gonna drop this pretty much all the way down and hopefully something grabs it. Oops, got a bird's nest already. Kerm's on the first one. Decent little rainbow. Not too bad for this lake.
Knocking in the dirt.
As usual, the homie's crushing me on the ice here. He's already got two. I haven't even got a bite yet. My ice fishing skills need work, but Kerm's on number two here. Good stuff.
Another wiggler.
Well, it was pretty sunny and calm when we got out here, so we weren't really planning on putting up an ice shelter or anything, but it has got pretty cloudy and windy at this point, and I actually picked up on Amazon a budget ice shelter pretty recently for I think like 70 bucks it was. I think the brand is Outsunny, and I've been meaning to test that out, so I think we'll set that up and see how I like that. The shelter came in a nice little carrying case like most of them do, so they didn't really seem to go too cheap on that. I like that. It really doesn't seem terrible quality as far as I could tell. I haven't set it up yet, but for as cheap as it was, seems decent. Oh, I thought that was going to be connected. Guess I got to keep track of my straps.
Oh, that's the shelter?
Yeah. Alright. See how this works. I've never set this up before. I might need your help, Kerm. I'm not sure yet. I feel like a idiot in here. Oh, you're in it? I was like, what is going on here?
I'm helping.
I know you're in it.
I was popping the sides out because they were literally, oh dude, my thumb.
You all right?
My glove.
Kerm's stuck. Well, that was an absolute circus getting that thing set up, but we figured it out. I mean, it's pretty standard. It sets up about how any other one sets up. We were just having a tough time with it because user error, but we got it. All right, so far so good. Got the shelter set up. This comes with stakes just like any other kind of standard ice shelter. So far so good. It's a tiny bit small, but other than that, it seems about like any other shelter I've been in. I wasn't even paying attention a second ago, but it actually gives you 4 extra stakes. But anyway, we got it staked down. I got 2 of the 3 ties tied off. Gonna finish getting this tied off and get in the old tent. Okay guys, I got the shelter set up and strapped down. looks pretty good inside. Like I said, it's a tiny bit small, but I knew that when I bought it. And yeah, I'm liking the looks of it so far. Kerm's actually staying outside for now because he just doesn't really feel like drilling another hole yet. So he might come in here if it gets a little colder, but for now it's going to be just me in here. And yeah, I'm actually going to switch to, I think, another jig or maybe a spoon and some waxworms because Kerm's out there crushing it with waxworms. I think he already caught like 5 or 6 trout, so hopefully I could get on a few too. So I went ahead and rigged up something a little more similar to what Kerm's throwing. I put on a slightly bigger jig, and this one is orange and yellow with black dots, and I've got it tipped with a live waxy, so we'll drop it in there and hopefully the trout like this a little bit better. Kerm seems to be having some pretty good luck with a very similar jig, so hopefully. Well, Kerm's on a slight hump over here in this hole, so I'm actually going to drop this bait down here myself and just see if it makes any difference. I'm not going to fish this spot long, but just going to see if I get a kind of quick bite like he's been over here. I'm curious. Well, Kerm already proved my theory wrong. He caught one in like 2 minutes in here when we switched holes, so I guess it's the fisherman, not the hole. I just can't fish today, I guess, or in general. Got one, guys, but by the time it was pretty much right at the surface when I caught it, so I didn't really get time to hit record. But man, what a struggle. We fished for a while before I hooked this guy. Just a tiny little bow, but I am mad happy with it. It's a beautiful one though, real nice colors. Man, that was a struggle to get that guy off my jig, but let's hopefully he swims out. Oh yeah, no problem. Awesome. Finally got one. Kerm's on like 7 or 8, so we're having an overall pretty good day numbers wise. I'm just not really getting on them, but hopefully that changes now. We'll see. I went ahead and repurposed the red worm and the wax worm I had tipped on that other bait, but I switched out to this gold rattle spoon by Castmaster. I think it's called Rattle Master if I'm not mistaken, but it's got a real nice shiny gold paint and it's got a really nice rattle in it too. So like I said, got it tipped with some wax and red worm. Gonna drop this down there and hopefully I'll have a little better luck with this.
Rattling shot.
I'm on one, guys, and it feels actually halfway decent for this lake. I don't think it's a giant or anything, but
I just missed one.
Yeah, it's not too bad. Decent fish. All right. Check that out, guys. Not a bad one. Kerm and I actually just doubled up. Biggest of the day and smallest of the day at the same time. Pretty cool, though. Oh. Mine is flopping all over the place, but we're getting the double release. Woo! All right. Awesome. Hell yeah, dude. That was awesome.
To the day right there, dude.
Look at that tank Kerm just got on.
Big old girl.
Monda.
They're still fussy though, even at this size.
Yeah. I decided to switch out to this little white with pink polka dot tungsten jig, and I tipped it with a tiny little waxy. Gonna drop this down there and hopefully I have a little better luck with this than I did with the spoon, or at least equal luck. I'd like to catch at least one with it.
Take care, dude.
Well, guys, I decided to take a little jig in the spot Kerm was out here and dropped it in for a couple seconds and got on one. It's pretty awesome. That's 3 for me for the day. I think like 8 or 9 for Kerm, so about 12 or so for the day. All right, let's go, guys. Another one for me. Let's get it back in the water. Well, guys, I think I'm just about done dropping this jig in now. We're running out of daylight and it is getting colder by the minute, so Kerm and I just talked about it. I think we're about to pack it up, but I think I'm actually going to do a little review on this Outsunny ice shelter here. It's actually pretty decent, kind of exceeded my expectations, and it fits the theme budget reviews, so I think I'll go ahead and do one on this. I like the little pockets in this shack. Most of them have this, but it's a nice little touch. And the one thing I did want to say is the zippers are a little bit tough. It might be because of how much tension I have on the shack right now to keep the shack from moving in the wind. It was pretty windy earlier, but I mean, they work, but they're just a little tough. All right, guys, time for the review on the Outsunny 2-man portable ice shelter from Amazon. This thing actually exceeded my expectations in most ways. There were only a few small complaints I had about it, but really, it's actually pretty solid. So, first thing I do want to say that's a small complaint is that it's a little bit small, but I definitely knew that going into it. I think I mentioned that in the video already. But I knew that going into it. It's not a huge one. It's probably about a good size for 2 average sized dudes or maybe 1 bigger dude. I wouldn't put more than 2 guys in here. It's just not really big enough for it. But anyway, aside from that, it was pretty freaking awesome. I would say overall, I'd give this thing probably a 7 out of 10, only knocking those points off for the small size, and also the zipper was just ever so slightly finicky. It was a little tough to slide it on the track, and this is only a first time use review. You know, I haven't really used it, so I can't say much for the duration of it. I've only used it that one time, but overall it seems pretty awesome as long as that zipper holds up. It seems like the reviews on Amazon were pretty positive, so I'm thinking it's probably holding up pretty good for other people. And aside from that, I mean, it had just about everything any major brand ice shelter has. It had the pockets on the inside, it had windows. It only did have 1 door. Some of them have 2 doors. So it only had the 1 door, but had the 2 windows, the pockets on the sides, the door. It popped out just like any other one. Oh, and another really positive thing, I was a little worried it'd be tough to get back in the bag, and I actually thought it was super easy to get back in the bag. All you had to do is collapse it normally, roll it up a little bit, and then it fit back in the bag with room to spare, and you could fit the little bag full of steaks and all that back in there too just fine. Everything went right back into the packaging as it should, and I know that's a big problem with items like this in general. I know even some of the major name brand ones, I've been in clam and I think Eskimo ones before, and I know both of those were actually pretty tough to cram back in the bag. So this one's actually easier than a lot of the name brand ones to get back in the bag. So I mean, just overall freaking awesome for 70 bucks. For the budget, I mean, you really can't go wrong. But overall, like I said, probably like a 7 out of 10. It's not gonna perform exactly as well as some of those name brand ones. I mean, the zippers are gonna slide a lot better on those. It's gonna feel a little more solid. This one's also not insulated, but that's normal. There's a lot of them that aren't insulated. You can either buy an insulated one or non-insulated, and generally speaking, the insulated ones are way more expensive. So just overall, like I said, awesome little ice shelter, and I couldn't recommend it enough for the price. I would say if you're looking for something a little better quality or a little bigger, go for one of the name brand ones. It's gonna probably last you a little longer, and it's gonna fit a lot more in it. You might be able to camp in it. You might be able to get a couple guys in it. It'll be a little better than this, but like I said, for the price, this thing's just awesome, fits my needs perfectly. I could get myself and the buddy Kerm in there no problem, and I'm super happy with it, so really can't complain. One more thing I do want to say before I wrap this video up is huge shout out to my new pro staff sponsor, Waterland. These guys are awesome. They make some really dope products. I mean, I'm loving this hat. I'm loving these glasses. I got the Sobros, and I forget what this hat was called, but I love it. This hoodie is awesome. It was actually pretty affordable. It's super comfy. And if you guys use my code ALLMOUTH, you can get 15% off your whole order at checkout. So go ahead, check those guys out, and use my code if you decide to buy anything, if you want to show support. And also, as always, go ahead and hit like and subscribe if you enjoy my content, and I think that's about all I got to say. So thanks again for watching, guys. I'll see you on the next one, and I'll see you on the water.